very interested at the moment in airport development that also includes rail and new city developments on the side of the airport together. Do you know of any of these outside of the Middle East going on at the moment?
From the top of my head, a couple, and at different levels of maturity and at different levels of private investment acceptance. But I don't know if I can say the name because everybody's familiar with Quito. In Quito Airport is a perfect example of a well-managed, well-invested airport. We have in the audience an airport management expert who might want to say something. And recently, in a similar line that Richard was talking about, not too far from here, Miami International Airport, Miami-Dade Aviation Department is already preparing structures to have real estate developed directly related to the non-airside operation, including hotels, including medical tourism centers, and including shopping facilities that will make the airport more of a destination with airplanes with time.
Do you see East Africa as a possible growth area?
Isn't this an America's conference? I'm not that familiar with the African region, so I cannot answer that question, but I do see the same example I mentioned repeated at least half a dozen times in Latin America. Projects, initiatives, and due diligence we've done for investors pointing in that direction.
Richard, what is the return on investment range that you guys are looking at?
It remains to be seen what the debt will cost, and it remains to be seen what that credit risk subsidy will be. But if you look today where, let's say, what's the 10-year note? I think today it was below 2% again. It was probably 1.8. But no, I'll let you do the math for yourself. If you think of 90% of your debt, it would be similar to what Exim debt costs today. We're seeing 12-year debt going out at Exim at very close to 3% nowadays. You can take a view on what your equity requirement would be, but if you put that math together, we are seeing middle to high double-digit returns pre-tax.
If I can make a comment on the presentation, the $1.6 billion of economic value added, given the initial billion, even though ITT and Airbus are behind it, and I'm pretty confident of this commentary, is those are the systems integrators. But that 1.6 billion is going to feed a commerce chain of small and medium-sized businesses that will be suppliers to ITT and Airbus. And that presents opportunity for the small and medium-sized investor. And that's something that in aerospace is sometimes hidden from the view of the investor who comes to the industry. Well, you know, all the big names are accounted for. But as soon as we show them the supply chain for Boeing, more than 5,000 accredited suppliers, and all of those 5,000 are small and medium-sized businesses, now you have a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways to get a good return. We have very interesting yield, low risk in this case, under the umbrella of the big names. That's very, very common in the aerospace industry worldwide, actually.
And I guess just to that point, the returns that I speak to there, it's just simple math. Those are steady state. I wouldn't dare imagine what the potential equity upside might be, but I assume there will be some. That would be over and above that.
Is there anything? Yes.
Rich, would you give us a little briefing on your background, because I can't find it.
Yeah, I was a last minute ad since we're kind of new, and I was in the sort of a government equivalent of quiet period. I'm actually by trade I started as a pilot for a couple of commercial airlines in Canada. Then I worked at American Airlines doing their fleet acquisitions and disposals, and then worked at Aviation Capital Group, building up that business from 2001 when it was acquired by Pacific Life. And I know there's one of my colleagues, or ex-colleagues, still there. I think when we started, maybe there was 40 airplanes dug. I think you guys are up to about 400 now. So it was a lot of fun to be during the formative period of ACG. And since the business that we are in, while we call it a fund and it's got Washington all over it, it really is a leasing company. And so I was very flattered when I got a call to Washington to come help run it, particularly since I'm a Canadian.
Maybe that's why they
That may be true.
Okay, thank you very much.